Here we have a Dyson V15. I'm going to open up and explore the insides. So the Dyson V15 and V11 are basically the same vacuum cleaner. The difference between the Dyson V15, it has this. It counts your particles and it has the particle counter inside. And it's more powerful as they upgraded the battery and the motor's different, but many of the parts are the same, such as the filter and the bin canister. First of all, we're going to remove the filter. And I'm going to show you how to remove the filter so it's easier to clean. You're going to need your prying tool or a flathead screwdriver. You need to remove this rubber ring on the bottom. We just pry it up. Once you have pried out the rubber ring, it will allow us to remove this filter part or the cloth part that has the water tap sign on it. So on the bottom here, there's actually tabs. Please note, not all the tabs are the same size. So when it goes in, it has to go in one direction only, or else it won't align correctly. So just showing you the tabs. There's long ones and there's short ones. So to remove the tabs, you need to put your fingers in and lift it up. You might not be able to lift it up. If you're not, then you can just use your prying tool to assist you to take it apart. But generally, using your hand is enough. Cool. Now that I've lifted it all up, it shows you it comes apart. You can also use your prying tool to help assist to pry it open. But be careful, this plastic is soft. If you use your tool, you might actually damage the plastic or break it. So just be careful. So there's actually these cutouts on top that needs to match the cutouts on the filter. So here are the gaps for the tabs. So the cutouts on top of the filter needs to align with the cutouts on top of this cloth part or the filter part, and they actually don't align together. So to put it back, you need to put your rubber ring over first, or it's actually really difficult to put back. Once you put your rubber ring over, now we can slide it over the top. Remember to have a look in advance to ensure that it's actually aligned correctly. As you can see here, the tabs do not align. Even though the tabs on the bottom align, the tabs on the top do not align. Therefore, I need to rotate it as it's actually not in correctly. So you need to align the top and the bottom. And basically, it only goes in one way. So now I have the tabs aligned on top. We can now close it by pushing it down. So you can actually disassemble the filter further, but I will not demonstrate that. I have it in another video how to disassemble the filter to all its parts, but I don't recommend anyone to do it because you won't be able to reassemble it. So here's the demonstrations to how much parts you can take off the filter. It will make it easier to clean, but then you won't be able to reassemble it. And what I just showed you is good enough. Now we're done with the filter. We're going to get our vacuum cleaner to test if we've done it correctly by putting it back in and see if it's sealed correctly. If there's no errors, we'll now move to the next part. We're now going to remove the bin. To remove the bin, you just have to remove it as normal. There's actually a red tab underneath that you have to push to get it out. There's also bin rails here. So you need to align that rail with the rail on your bin on both sides to put it back in. So if they don't slide in properly, it doesn't go in. So once again, we open the bin. There's a red button down here you have to press to take it out. So next, you're going to need your prying tool or a flathead screwdriver to remove the outer rubber ring. Try to remove the top part first where the clip is, as it does make it easier. Once you get it over the ring, you can just use your hand and then pull the whole thing out and it should come out. So here on the ring, there's the bottom side, which is flat, which goes to on the bottom side. Put the bottom side in first, as it makes it a lot easier. Then you can stretch the outside to fit in. We're going to readjust it to ensure that the gaps, or there's no stretch part and there's no compressed part, or else your bin doesn't close properly and seal correctly. What you can do is you can close your bin, look around the sides to see if it's correct. So you also can remove the inner rubber ring, but be careful, do not remove it, as you probably won't be able to put it back. We're going to look at the line where it actually, how much it goes down by, because once you remove it, you're going to have to push it back down. Since I'm doing a disassembly, I'm showing you how to do it. So you just can pull on it and it'll come off. But you also need to remember the line. If you don't put this back properly, when you close your bin against your vacuum cleaner, it actually won't close properly. So there's a groove around here. If you look around, you can see there's actually marks. So they actually use sort of glue to keep it back in. So now to put it back in place, you put the ring over the top. You push it down, not all the way, but slowly all the way around evenly. Because if you put one side down first, you'll make the other side stretch. And then when you go completely, it won't be circle. So now that I've pushed it down completely, I'm going to have to use more force to make sure it goes down to the original line. This is actually really hard. So now we're just looking around to check if it's at the right line. It is not. So I'm just going to use my prying pick or tool to help me push it down.
I had a neighbor who just moved in. Her daughter, like just 1 year above me, she's selling paintings for like hundreds of dollars already.
But is her painting good?
Well, it's decent, but like nothing I can't do.
See, you have to try to know. Try it.
No!
See, now
I'm shame. I have shame as well. Like if I post shit on social media and like there's like 1 or 2 few likes, I'm not gonna post it.
See,
not that shit.
How do you think she started?
I don't know. She probably went to relatives.
She posted online and people were like, yeah, of course.
She probably went through relatives.
So now that I've done that, we're checking the line again and it seems to be down correctly. You're just going to have to get your vacuum cleaner out and test it to see if it fits correctly. You can close the lid to see if it's sealed correctly. If it's sealed correctly, we can now move on to the next step, We also check the outside as well to see it's sealed correctly.
Open it and then close the lid. It's not clicky sound.
This is not this because this is old. It's worn. It's my one. Remember? This is mine, not yours. Because I didn't clean your one. Next, we're going to need a torque T8 screwdriver to remove this part.
No, shoes I'm paying you.
Really? All of a sudden now you're so good to pay me. How come you wouldn't put in payment for the...
Can you get me like...
You'll next need some picks or your prying tool. We need to insert the picks into where the tabs are.
Playing food. I want
So the idea of inserting the picks to the tab, it's so it can lift it up, so it can actually slide out. So if you look here, you can actually see there's cutouts, and that makes it hold in place. So the reason why we insert the picks is so it can lift it off, and now we can actually remove it. If we don't lift it up with the picks, it ends up being stuck in place.
just like get me like 5.
So there's actually a hole here where the screw is.
I want like the
What you have to do, you have to get a flathead screwdriver. We need to poke straight
traditional
down and pry up. Please note it has to go in this much.
and then down more.
Once you've pried it up, you can go around now and lift up the rest.
It makes you water. Like makes your mouth water. So good. Like it's like the right kind of sour.
Please note on this red ring, there's actually grooves and cutouts as well. So you need to align these grooves and cutout on the bottom. Or else when you put back the ring that we originally took out, it would actually go in because it's too thick. So what you have to do is you have to align the ring correctly. Also, the red ring also slides in on the top ring. So this is one of the problems people have. So if it doesn't slide in correctly, it creates a gap. There's actually a lip on this that makes it needs to slide underneath. So what we need to do is we need to align the ring correctly with the grooves on the bottom.
Have you actually never had that?
Have a look first before you think. Once you confirm it seems to be correct, we'll put our ring on. Where the gap is where the screw hole is. Just put it on. Don't need to push it down yet. Once it's in correct place, you can now push it down and lift up the red ring at the same time. So it actually goes into the groove. Remember to lift it up before you push down, so you ensure it's actually stuck in place correctly. After that, remember to pull on the red ring so it's distributed evenly and there's no stretch and compressed areas. To put it back in, we have to put the side in the screw first, diagonally. Once it's in diagonally, we can push it in. Just give it a tap and it's stuck in place. We now need to get our torque T8 screwdriver to put the screw back in. We'll get our vacuum cleaner out to test if we've done it correctly. Check if there's no gaps. Next, we're going to remove the cyclones or the filter, whatever you want to call them. There's screws around here, and there's 2 screws on the rail that you have to use. So you need to get your Phillips head screwdriver to remove this. Please note, your Phillips head screwdriver needs to be quite long for it to reach deep into the hole. So there's 4 screws on the filter area and 2 screws on the rail part.
Wait, does the dull guy know that you're the person?
Please note you need to use a long Phillips head screwdriver, like I said before. The reason why it has to be long, as the hole is actually quite small. So therefore, you can't use your attachment ones, which will not be able to fit in the hole.
Why don't you ask him for like some connections, like?
Then you remove another 2 Phillips head screws on the bottom, where the rail for the bin is.
Dell is high.
This one doesn't have to be long, but it makes easier if you have a long screwdriver.
Fix computers. Oh no, it's not like how important it is, but like how close they are with like how close they are with like.
Yeah, so no, there's a company. If they don't, Dell doesn't have people. They hire someone.
Yeah, it's like third party.
You know, this guy messaged me for $5. He messaged me so long.
I think I can tell. I saw the message and he talks like.
We remove all our screws. We just take the top off just by sliding it. Please note there's actually rails on this on both sides.
The suit.
It needs to go
I don't know. Yeah.
along here. So you have to slide it in and out. You can't just put it down.
This is so disappointing because when my mom bought the phone, the case came with it, but it was broken. But the buttons are so good. I feel so. Don't tell me it's that guy. No, can you walk out?
Yeah, but did you stop?
Can you walk out?
No, oh, okay.
Okay. Hmm.
So now we need to get our Torque T8 screwdriver to remove the bin rail or bin holder. After we remove the screw, we can lift up the bin rail just to put it back in. Right, there's these holes that you have to align. As long as you align the screw hole, it should just work out correctly. There's this tab here. This is the bin stop. So if your bin flies off, it's because your bin stop is actually broken, which happens a lot. So when you slide in, it stops here. You have to press this red button to come out. So this actually breaks, and it's a common thing to happen with the V10, V11, and V15. Next, we have to remove these Torque T8 screws. There's 4 of them to remove the top part off. Top half, actually.
I'm sorry, I have weird clothing. I'm wearing pink, for fuck's sake.
See, finally you wear pink. Wearing look great in pink. Oh, you know what you can do, Boone?
I ran out of laundry.
Huh?
I ran out of laundry.
Do you know what you can do?
What?
Because you're wearing pink.
What?
Pink heels as well.
No.
Yes, oh, so.
my hair dyed pink?
Huh? You called clove pink.
Was my shoes pink?
No, because you didn't have pink shoes. Imagine. Yeah,
I
I'll give
do.
you shoes.
I actually do have pink shoes.
No, I'll give you pink heels and you have pink shoes.
It's so ugly. You know? Shit. You know the new Barbie movie?
No, I never heard of it before.
Bro, every time it shows up on Instagram,
Because you're on
my
Instagram.
eyes burn.
Once we remove those, we can now lift it up by wiggling a bit.
Can we do it another day when I have like
No, when I'm only gonna see you
some
tomorrow
cool
or tonight, and that's
outfit?
it. Then I'll never see you again. When's the next time I'm gonna see you?
Monday.
No, So to put it back in, we're going to just align your screw holes.
Yeah, but after school.
No, you totally not gonna do that. You're just like lying to me. Next, we're gonna have to remove the connector, and to remove the connector, we are going to get our chopsticks so we can push it out from the inside. You're going to get your chopsticks and your hammer because you're not going to be able to do it by hand.
See, I'm cute. I should have that.
So the idea is to put your chopsticks on top, behind the connector.
Like, probably there's only like a decade.
So I just need something to hold this up so the string,
Until someone like me is born.
so it doesn't tilt down and pull my top half down.
I'm like that special.
So what we have to do is you have to put the chopsticks on the left and the right side of the connector, but on the inside. And after that, we get our hammer and we knock it out.
Ain't that your problem though?
Huh?
Ain't that your problem?
Yeah, this is why I taught people the hammer technique. I have to teach people stuff. So once it's aligned with the connector, we get our hammer. We also need to put it on the side because the connector is actually flat with the filter part. So if we don't put it on the side when we knock it, it actually can't come out because the table will actually block it. So we need to hang it on the edge a bit.
Do you want me to throw the phone at you?
I'm happy. Once you're happy with that, you can get your hammer. You're actually going to hit quite hard because we need the side tabs of the connector to break, or else it would not come out. So the connector has tabs inside to stop it from falling or out. So what we're doing is we're pushing it out forcefully. Here you go. As you can see on the bottom, the connector has popped out. Now that the connector popped out, we just have to remove it from the top. So just to demonstrate it again, so this is what we were doing on the bottom, or on the inside.
I don't know about you, but I think.
So there's actually a tab here. It allows you to open the door of the connector. Once you open the door, you can take the connector string out. Remember that white is on the inside hinge and black is on the outside. There's actually a hole. So that hole, and there's actually these two tabs that holds the strings in place. So therefore, you need to rotate your strings correctly before you can close the door. So you know the door's closed properly. If you pull on the connector, the strings don't pop out. So now that we've done that, we can actually move the top half. With the top half, we can actually remove this rubber thing. So there's a line here, and all the way around there's no line. There's holes as well. So what happens is you just have to pull it off. And when you put it back on, remember to align the line and the screw holes correctly. Here's the line. The line there needs to line up with that. So just to put it back in, just stretch it over. Put it over the hole. Put it over everything. After you have done with putting it in place correctly, you can then go around to check if the screw holes are aligned. So there's 4 cutouts for the screws to go past. So once you've done that, remember to toggle on it a bit. So this allows it to stretch out evenly.
One gulp, and I drink the same.
Next, we're going to remove this mesh filter. By removing the mesh filter, we need to remove 3 screws. And these are Torque T8 screws. There's a serial number on it, but there's a sticker. The sticker's on the thing that holds the bin. So I just unscrew that. Once you remove the 3 screws, what we need to do next is we need to remove the metal filter. But the issue is there's this square. So this square sits flush. The inside sits flush with the outside. So what we have to do is we have to pull on it a bit to create tension from the opposite side.
Like, display only, do not touch.
Okay. What were they selling it?
No. Because it was like so expensive, and
What, this vacuum?
I treasured it so much, and they're like, if you treasure it so much, buy it like a fucking display only, do not touch.
Oh, as in a display to... You pull it, remember to squish it. So the idea is we need to squish it so the outer square pops up so it can slide over the inner square. Since it sits flush, it makes it really hard to remove.
Because it's new. I know.
What was it? Is it like hair? I think hair just flew out.
I don't care.
So to put it back, as you can see, the square actually sits flush with it. So therefore, to remove it, you need to lift up the outer square somehow. So we can lift it up by squishing it. And that normally makes it bulge out a bit.
She wanted to see. It's that exciting. And like,
So there's this thing here. This is the square.
because someone might saw her when
So you can actually just take it straight out and it actually slides back in
and I thought they were gonna
perfectly.
No, but it's precious.
So your phone costs more than...
But it has security. This one, they can just take it away. And it's plus it's like the newest the newer version.
Yeah, okay, something that's worth something. Okay.
And I thought they were gonna break in and like take it. I didn't care about my iPad because my iPad had no like password at the time.
Yeah.
I was so scared. I didn't care about my iPad. I thought they were gonna take the vacuum cleaner. And I was like, oh,
There's this door here. So this door is where your particle counter is, I'm actually not going to remove it. Previously, in my previous video, I did remove it, but if you remove it, you might actually damage it, and there's actually no particular purpose to remove it. So therefore, in this video, I will not show you how to remove it.
Kick their balls or something.
But if you want to remove it, you just need to take those 4 screws out, remove the sticker. Inside, there's another 2 screws. So we're going to use our Torque T8 screw to remove, to unscrew 4 screws. This allows us to remove the cyclone part.
No. I look like shit.
No, I love you looking like this.
Or just take Twee's makeup and then I'll work something up.
No, no makeup. I'm happy
No.
like this.
No.
Tweet has no makeup.
Okay, well, too bad for you. Not today.
Do you want your shoe? But do you want your dress? Oh, you already bought it. This is why you don't care. Do you see the problem? If you already bought it, you get no remorse, no nothing.
I did. I
No,
have
you
a
don't.
really high conch.
No,
I'm
you don't.
really
This is why you don't.
get
Oh, you're like,
pissed off.
oh, it's already done. You know, too bad. No, I'm gonna buy you stuff first. I just learnt my lesson. See, got screwed again. We removed our screws. We can now actually tilt this back a bit and it should come off. So unlike the V11, due to the way they designed it, it's actually extremely difficult to remove. Like, we can't disassemble it like the V11 due to where they leave the magnetic connector is, and due to the particle counter, makes it really difficult to remove. Look, if you think it's bad, you can also remove this ring. This ring is just, it seals with the bin. So just lift it up and put it back down. It's actually that straightforward.
Can't you just do tomorrow?
Because you don't want to eat all 3 problem cookies at once.
You can eat it.
No, I bought cookies. Look, I went all that way because you asked me. You know, if I ever asked why I have to go, you told me you needed it. I got it for you. So if we pull off the back, we can now remove the back, and we can actually pull and remove the cyclones as well. If you just wiggle it out a bit.
You don't tell me those things. Why? It looks like it'll give me like.
So here's the inner cyclone and the outer cyclone. The inner cyclone actually has these rails that you need to put in the outer cyclones. We normally can remove the outer cyclone as well, but since I don't have a tool to remove the connector, therefore I have to leave it like this. So to put the inner cyclone and outer cyclone together, you just slide it on the rail and it actually fits in place. I never thought about it until you told me. I never thought this about it, but now like images such on your head. There's a connector there. Due to the connector, without me removing the connector, and due to the way they designed it with the detector, it makes it extremely difficult to remove. Since I don't have a tool to remove the back, we have to leave the 2 parts together. And since the way they leave the white thing there to block you from taking it out, it actually makes it extremely difficult. I don't recommend you to go further. So on this, you can actually remove the foam gasket. This is to seal the back and the front together, so there's no air leaks. You actually can take it off to clean. Be careful so you don't rip it. If you rip it, it makes a hole. There's an inner one too, and it's actually black. That's why it's hard to see. So if you rip this, it actually makes a gap and you lose suction because of it. It's not significant, but yes, it still counts. So to put it back, we have to get our inner one, remember to align correctly with the hole where the connector goes, and just push it over the top and it should be fine. Be gentle, do not rip it, as you won't be able to find replacements. Same with the outer one. Align the bottom with the bottom where the connector is.
That's nice. Yeah. I think I just got one set of nails.
Again?
I love nails.
No, I like it.
Huh? You don't like it?
No, I like it. When I first saw you did your nails, I reckon it was amazing. When I saw you at church.
Which one was that?
The pinkish one with...
I always do pink. I have never done any color beside blue and pink.
Really? The one I saw you at church and you had stuff on it, I don't know. See, you can do pink now. Can't wear pink top.
Pink nails is like jelly nails. It's different than like pink clothes. It's not like cute.
Really? Now that we've done that, we need to put our inner cyclone with our outer cyclone with the guide rail. Make sure you wiggle it around to confirm that it's in correctly. Once that's in, we need to place this on top.
Wait, do you figure this shit on your own?
Yes.
I think it's lopsided.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Remember to align it correctly before you place it in. You know it's in because it sits nice and flush. You might have to bend a few of the cyclones back, but once it goes in, it will bend in correctly.
See, this is why, because you're the only one who does this, but you don't get enough credit for this.
So remember there's screw holes for the 4 screws we took out when we disassembled it originally. So therefore, just line up the screw holes and it should be fine.
But he doesn't like dismantle and clean everything.
He does. He only takes half an hour. I know it takes me half an hour to dismantle already, and to clean it. How does it take you half an hour to just clean it, like to return it to the customer?
I think he's bullshitting.
Huh? No, because he advertised. They like, how long does it take you? They're like, oh, if he goes, it's. So you're gonna have to fiddle with it a bit for it to ensure it fits properly.
Maybe because it's representative of your face.
Due to not being able to remove the outer cyclone and the grey part, it makes it slightly difficult to put back.
Don't fucking take it out and do it again.
So I'll finally be able to get it in properly. Next, we need to put this in. Remember to align the back with the back. When you press it down, remember to check there's no gaps. If there's a gap, then you stuffed up somewhere. So go back. So once we push it down, as you can see, there's no gaps. Therefore, it's sealed correctly. We're going to have to put our 4 torque T8 screws back. What?
You little good boy, Tibu.
Yes, which one you want? Tab search first or Tingley? Tab search or Tingley?
Both.
Which one first? I can't.
Tab search. Because I actually want to know.
Huh?
What is it?
You got a virus. We might not be able to resolve it.
What is
so
it?
what to resolve it? Do you have anything important on the computer? Files.
Probably.
So the best way is probably if we erase everything. So you have to save your files elsewhere, and we restart again.
No.
You don't like that one?
No. That doesn't sound nice.
Why?
Because I have so much art on it.
Yeah, paste it somewhere else. That's how it. Because tab search, that's solution. That's the best way because that guarantees you remove everything. Because you don't know what tab search is taking off you. You know that tab search thing?
Yeah, it's taking information.
Yes, it might. Every time you enter a password, it might be retrieving it. It probably is.
No,
On
but
a
I
web
don't
page.
have anything important. Just my
Every
Instagram story.
every time you log in somewhere, you
Just
might be losing it.
somewhere, like
Any
any
page because
as
now we have
long
to
as I
put
put
our
it
side
on
door
every
back on or side hole. I don't know what that you want to call it.
Fine.
Because you can control your computer. So everything you do on your computer, in theory, generally it's not. So when you slide in, make sure it looks correctly.
If I
Next, we now put our metal filter on the outside. Remember to line up your door inner square with your outer square. Once it's aligned, you can put it in place.
Because the thing is, anything like
Make sure your square is and your outer square and inner square is
that's the thing.
aligned correctly. Once you put it down, revisit the square to confirm. After we've done it, we need to put our
Apple product.
3 Torque T8 screws back.
iPad.
Okay, yeah, Apple, okay, phone and iPad. Yeah, that's good. It's yes, your phone and your iPad's less likely to be thing
Yeah.
because it's dumber. Like it doesn't allow you to have a lot of functions compared to your.
Yeah. Like if you do like some weird mod with your like wallpaper, you can't do it on Apple.
No, you can.
No, like some like there's like the something.
It's not
something.
straightforward, but yes, anything's possible. Ish, ish. Okay, we do your tab search after this, and we look at your team. Are you gonna make coffee cooking? One, just do one.
But I look shit.
No, one. Do one topic cooking. If you do one topic cooking, $5.
You're gonna rip me off for the other one.
So before I didn't check correctly, but my square wasn't aligned. I just had to fix it up. $5 first. Okay, you know what I'll do? I'll do $6 first. Does that make you happy?
And it's like a 16 and a few cents, like 9
Okay,
cents.
I'll do $6 and whatever 9 cents it is. I'll do the leftover. Cool.
Okay.
Okay. I fucked up.
But not today. I look
No,
like
today.
shit. I look like
Here, my square is not overlapping correctly, so I just have to push it in. Remember to inspect it before you start screwing stuff in, so it doesn't waste your time unscrewing it and fixing it up.
But I don't. I'm not seeking validation. I'm not some weird ass whore.
Huh?
I don't like it.
You don't like you. The problem is you don't like you. Really? We're going to get our top half. We're going to insert our cables through the small hole.
Can't we do the other vacuum today?
Once we insert it in, we need to align it.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
We need to put our 4 Torque T8 screws back in.
Can we visit the supermarket and can you buy me moku?
Oh, do you see where this shit comes from? I see you're gonna hit me with some crap.
Fine.
Huh? See?
So be it.
And I tell you to do this. Nah. Oh, well, you know you can't drink moku. What if we go to the supermarket? They go, you look shit. You know? No, you can't.
Okay.
You know? What if they go? You know, your friends see you and they're like, oh.
True. They
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
seen me with that makeup.
Oh, see? That's why. Oh, that's totally. We can't know. Look, I really want to go to the supermarket, but in case, you know, what if one of your schoolmates see you? They'll be like, who's that girl?
I'm keeping image.
Huh?
I'm keeping image.
Really?
I'm keeping my image. You know, I'm still that like pretty A-girl girl.
Really?
That's like average but like pretty. So like You know how like guys are scared to hit on like the prettier ones because they're scared to get rejected. That's the thing with my friend. She's like pretty, but her personality is not like hot.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Now you in sort of ish.
So like people hit on her, not her friends.
Okay.
Her friends are like fine ass, but she's just pretty, yeah.
Okay.
You know they go for the easy ones.
How come? Oh, I need to lift this up. Is it actually in? Is your feet actually in it?
Yeah. Don't cut it out, please.
I can't cut it out. I don't know how to cut it out.
Photoshop.
My thing.
Oh, you know the thing is, when you go to school, you get like the whole Adobe thing for free.
Yeah. Had to remove my screws as my rubber thing wasn't aligned correctly. So I need to re-stretch it out. So this is what happens when it's not stretched correctly. Some parts will be tighter than others, and when you screw it in place, it looks wonky. That's why it's a good idea to inspect it before you screw it back in.
Because I skipped a whole year without knowing that.
Oh, see, this this is the problem. No one advertises it. How did you know? Who told you?
Some year 12.
Most people don't know. You have to sign up with your school school name to get it. You sign up with school name. Have you got it yet? I thought you already knew. You told me the other day.
I went through. No, I did.
Yes.
When did I say that? I don't know, but I went through a whole year without it. I'm so disappointed.
Would you used it though?
Yeah, I'm using it right now. I just like Photoshop my face a little bit. Can you like shut up?
See, this is where I
and think before you start talking?
I tell you no. I have a lot of uses for you. I reckon you'll be great in like YouTube clothing tutorials. The cosplay piano girl, or you can be the cosplay drum girl. Now we have to put the connector back in. Remember, the white one goes in where the hinge is, and the black one goes where the door knob is, whatever, the closing part. Remember to put it in deep enough and facing correctly so that when you close the door, it locks in place. You know it's locked in place correctly when you pull on it. It doesn't fall out. So to push it back in is how we put it back in properly. Once you put it back in, tap it a bit to ensure it doesn't fall out or move. Next, we need to slide it on our vacuum and put our bin rail back on. Before we do that, we need a torque T8 screwdriver to screw it back on. Now we get our vacuum. Now we get our vacuum to show you how to disassemble this part. So you need your torque T8 screwdriver to do this. This part is unnecessary and you shouldn't need to remove it. Also, remember to remove your battery first, or else when you remove stuff, you actually press the button. There's actually a screw underneath the battery slot too. So there's actually no point doing this part because on the V8 and on the newer V11s, they actually glued the circuit board in. So you can't remove it. Since I'm doing this assembly video, I'm just going to show you anyway where it's glued. So after you remove the two screws, we need to get our prime tool, which is a flathead screwdriver for me, so we can pop off this white thing. So I'm just going to repeat again, there's no point doing this part as they already glued it. Since I'm doing disassembly, I'm just going to show you the glue. Normally if you want to see how to remove it and access the trigger, please watch my Dyson V11 video. As on the Dyson V11, they didn't glue it for my one, since my one is one of the newer models. So here, you actually cannot remove it because they actually have plastic welding tabs that they tabbed in. So even when you remove the 2 screws, you have to snap the 2 plastic welding tabs before you can actually remove it. This is actually an upgrade. This is one of the newer V15s that I just purchased in a few months before this video. That's why it has these plastic welding tabs. On my first V15, they didn't have this. So I'm just going to put it back now. I'm going to insert my vacuum back in. Make sure it's sit nice and flush. If it's not, you screw it up somewhere. Take it out and do it again. We need to get our Phillips head screwdriver to put our 6 screws back in.
Aren't you happy though? Because you have less shit to do.
No, it's important. I bought the vacuum cleaner to disassemble. If I don't disassemble it, it's done. So, for your other $10, so you've just $16. So $6 for you to make pumpkin cooking. I got something else for your other $10.
What?
You know how $16 and something cents?
Didn't you say you were gonna make it
$6, yeah.
$16 and something cents for pumpkin cooking? Each video one.
You're only making one today. Are you making all?
No.
So you get $6 something for now. And until you make the other videos.
What a scam.
What a scam. Look at this. Look how I'm getting screwed by you. Looks at Timu. Finds stuff to hold against me. You on purposely look at Timu and then you're like, oh, I'm holding stuff. I'm not holding stuff against you. You're holding stuff against yourself. I'm going to put the battery back in. You need to get your filter to test it. So you press it, it works. Pressing the buttons work. There's suction.
Is it not sucking? Yeah.
Could you tell me? So we're going to put our bin back on. Turn on our vacuum to test. And that's it. Thanks for watching.